While I admire Sydney Sweeney's go-getter attitude as it pertains to her willingness to roll up her sleeves and pitch movies for her to star in over the course of her still young career, her performances in those movies has been a bit hit or miss, if I do say so myself. But Julianne Moore's casting in this film is what ultimately piqued my interest enough to make me want to sit down and watch it. That being said, I knew this film was doomed from the opening image. Sight unseen, I couldn't tell whether I was watching the past, the present, or the future for the first 10 minutes of this movie. So much so that I wonder what the filmmakers were trying to accomplish outside of trying to simply show the audience how clever they could be. But once the film settled down, some 12 minutes or so into the story, you finally understood what you were watching. And from that point on, it's a paint-by-numbers thriller with little surprises where the beats were concerned. What was a surprise, however, was how little regard Brad Inglesby had for the intelligence of his audience as we steamed past the film's midpoint into what I thought was a rather ridiculous path towards a fairly predictable conclusion. And speaking of the film's conclusion, even that was a non-decision of a decision, in that the film ends on a cliffhanger. And even the twist was kind of a cheat in that it's due to an omission. And I always tell people, I don't think that counts when it comes to writing. Now, I thought the acting was fairly good, and Julianne Moore certainly shines as the film's protagonist, as I'm sure we all expected that she would. The directing was a bit murky in some pretty important spots, and thus wound up hurting the film more than it did help it. What I think did help this film was its sub 2-hour runtime, because just when you feel like you've seen enough, the movie crashes to a halt. Now, overall, I'd give this film a 55%, or 5.5 if you think an IMDb score. Look, this film was a bit of a narrative mess, as I think it can't decide exactly what it wants to be, or rather it tries to be all things at once. And though the movie isn't horrible, it isn't exactly great either. It's your typical slice of streaming service pie, a movie designed to simply keep the machine running so as not to allow subscribers the chance to feel the need to look elsewhere for new content. I say all of that to say this film would be a massive disappointment if you actually had to get up and go out to the movies and drop $50 in total to check it out. But as an Apple original, I'd say it does what it was created to do, if only just barely.